I help people rediscover their play because I really believe like their inner child is where the answers actually lie.
Well, hello. I am Dr. Marcie, founder of Behavior and Beyond, where I bring you real ideas for real behavior. And I am here with Jeff Harry, who is an amazing play expert. And we wanted to chat a little bit about keeping your sanity during this coronavirus pandemic. It is a very critical time. It is a very uncertain time. It is a moment where many, many people don't know what to do. And all of those things lead to an increase in anxiety, an increase in fear, an increase in rumors and kerfuffliness all around.
Yep.
And Jeff and I wanted to share some thoughts about how to stay calm. I know, Jeff, you have some great ideas about how to play through this moment.
Yep. I'm trying to answer the question of how can you play during a pandemic? And I believe you can, but you have to first create the psychological safety to do that. So that's part of what we want to talk about today.
Absolutely. And just even when there is not certainty, when there is not absolute safety, how do you create a place where you feel safe enough to move forward? And especially if you are a parent or a leader in any way, whether it's at a job, within your community, within your family, within a school, you have to create that sense of safety as much as you can so that people can continue to move forward.
Yes.
So that we can continue with our day-to-day lives, so that we can continue to thrive in the face of this challenge. So Jeff, how do you think we create that solid foundation every day? We're going to have to reset it, I think, because there's constantly new information, but how do we start?
I think one of the first steps is to acknowledge that fear is real, right? Like, don't get me wrong, I'm scared. Like I have been making the bad choices of choosing to go back to social media or choosing to go back to the news in many ways, feeling like I'm getting more information, so it's going to calm me down, and instead it just ramps me up more and more. So I think the first part is not falling victim to the paranoia. Like finding out the information. Once you find out information, then like actually trying to stay focused and move on with your day. Because I think a lot of times right now, especially with a lot of people that are at work, like they're like, oh, I don't even know what to do. I don't even know what work I can do. What is it that I'm able to do? And that's where you get into the spiral of negativity. And then that can be pretty dangerous.
Yes. So being really intentional with the media that you're consuming, the information that you are looking towards. And so I always think of whatever is a reliable news source to you. I know what I think is a reliable news source, but you as the viewer, what do you find to be a reliable place to get your information? Get it from there and kind of let go of the rest of it.
Yeah, get in and then get out when it comes to the news. Because it almost kind of reminds me of 9/11, like where we would just watch and watch and watch, thinking that maybe if I watched one more update, I'd feel safer. And that's just not the case.
So one tool that I actually use for myself with social media is I set a timer. So I think using that for the news at this point too, of I will watch news for 15 minutes or I'll be on social media for 15 minutes, 30, 10, whatever feels right for you. When my timer goes off, I close it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it can be hours later. Great suggestion.
I think another one that helps me is also realizing what is it that you are contributing to the space. Are you contributing fear to the space? Mm-hmm. Are you contributing something productive that makes people feel more educated? Or are you contributing a certain level of positivity and happiness and levity to the situation? Because right now, I think what we want to do is we just want to vent and then it doesn't help everyone else because then we're all in the same spiral, you know?
So being responsible for our own contribution. And you and I were just talking about this before we hopped on this call of we both are scared. We both really don't know what's happening. And we also want to share some of the tools that we do have to make it better.
Right.
So,
like the question I have for you is, you know, being that you work so much with families, what as a parent can they do when they know that their kid is starting to feel scared because their schools just got canceled?
yeah. So I actually just made a YouTube video about how to talk to your kids about coronavirus. So you can find that on my YouTube channel, which is Dr. Marcie Beagle. But the quick of it is make sure that you're in a good place too, because if your stress levels are high, if you're overwhelmed, if you just got off a planning call that seemed like there were no answers, it's not the time to talk to your kids. So if that's the case, and that's the moment that your child comes up to you and is like, hey, what's happening with this? You have every capacity to say, I really want to talk to you about that, and I need 10 minutes to go finish up some emails, right? Or well, let's talk about that over lunch or dinner, depending on when the next meal is going to be. Tell them when you're going to talk to them, but wait till you can at least project leadership, project calmness, because the way you are feeling when you speak to your children is how they're going to feel about it.
Yep.
And if you are stressed and overwhelmed and scared and convey that to your child, not only will they have those emotions, but then you'll see an increase in problem behavior. Because when we're scared and we're children, we act out. Yep. Truth is, many adults are acting out right now because we're scared.
Dude, seriously.
Yes.
And I think that brings up a bigger point that, like, you know, I in many ways see the world almost like a playground. I got this from Gwen Gordon, where she would refer to some people see the world as this playground. And how are you contributing currently to the playground? Are you playing in a way in which we're all in this together? And I think that's a crucial part of it, because with the amount of like xenophobia that's currently happening, with the amount of like, you know, like people are getting attacked for where they're coming from because of this. The reality is nobody is safe from this, you know, whether you're rich or poor. I mean, frankly, Tom Hanks has it, as well as NBA players. So regardless of what situation you're in, we should be hoping and cheering for each other as part of humanity, and like being nice to one another at the same time that we're being asked to be, you know, social distancing. Like, I was walking around the grocery yesterday, and just simply seeing people and smiling at them was adding a little bit more value, because everyone is freaked out. And it's just like, yo, we're in this together. You know,
let the communities come together.
Communities come together, even if we're not actually physically together.
Yes.
And that's a part that I feel like is really important, that at the same time you have to be potentially doing social distancing, you still should be doing social connection, which is like, what are you doing to get your level of connection and fill? And even getting more, being that now you have to stay at your house or you're isolated in a certain place. What are you doing to take care of it?
Intentionally making sure you're having phone calls, you're setting up video chats, all of those things for your children, making sure that you're setting up for them too. Virtual play dates. I don't exactly know how that's going to look, but I think that is, you know, you each get your pile of Legos and you put the screen up and you talk about what you're building, right?
Right.
Lots of creative ways to do this. And if we come to this with curiosity, and we think about what's possible and give it a try, it's going to change things.
Oh, tell me more about the curiosity part, because that's, I think, is a really big part of this.
Right. So when we face a problem, we can either look at it as something that we're curious about and wondering about, or we can look at it as a problem.
Yeah.
And usually when we look at it as a problem, it stops us in our tracks, right? It's the fear can be paralyzing. The fear can be stigmatizing. It can just be like, I don't know how to move forward.
Right.
But the same exact situation, and we are certainly in that now. If you say, well, I wonder how I can help. I wonder how I can stay connected even if I'm quarantined. I wonder how I can make sure that my house is prepared.
Yep.
And then go do something about it, right? There's so many conversations. There's so much watching the news. There's so much on social media to consume. But one of the biggest ways to combat fear is to do something.
Yes.
Part of the challenge right now is there's not a ton to do.
Yeah.
But I know personally, every couple days, I'm like going to CVS and getting more of something.
Yes.
Whether it's more paper towels or more cold medicine or another bag of chips. I mean, I am well stocked here, and I'm very grateful that I've been able to get every supply I need. But every once in a while, when I start to get scared, I'm like, oh, I can use more tuna fish. And I go to the store and I get a little bit more, and I stock it up because I have enough for me. I live by myself, but if a friend ends up needing to come here, right? I have a family friend who's in school nearby, and if she can't fly home, I told her, come here. So I want to make sure that I have enough to share. I have enough to build that community, all of those pieces. But the antidote to our fear can be action, even if it's irrelevant action. And in some ways, that's why we're seeing a run on toilet paper, right? I have more toilet paper in my house than I think I can use in a year.
Yep.
And it's one of those things that it gives us comfort to know that we have certain supplies and we're going to use it anyway, right? Like that's some of the psychology behind things that are being purchased. I'm going to use it anyway, might as well buy it now.
Right.
So when talking to your kids, for yourself, if you are leadership at work, think about what are the things that you can do, right? Even getting a Zoom account or some other video chat conferencing platform and practicing on it. It's something you can actively do that will take your mind out of fear into action and give you a sense of control in this very uncontrolled, uncertain time.
I completely agree with that because there's so many unknowns, and what's so funny when there's so many unknowns, you want to control everything.
And you want answers, which is why everyone is
constantly
bouncing on content as opposed to saying, that's unknown. What can I focus on that I do know? Yeah. What is something that I can have? And so when it comes to this situation, part of my thought is saying, this is all I can know about Corona. This is all I can know about COVID-19. There's all this other stuff I can know. So let me go learn something else right now. Let me go focus somewhere else.
Yeah.
Even if it's just for a little bit of time. And that's where I love your focus on play, Jeff, because yes, we need to pay attention. We need to be vigilant. We need to be attentive to what's happening to keep ourselves healthy, to keep our communities healthy. Mm-hmm. But we also need to take time out of that conversation to replenish ourselves, to restore ourselves, to focus on the gratitude that I am in a position where I can have a cabinet full of toilet paper. I am in a position where I can purchase the food so that if I'm quarantined, I have it. Yeah. I am in a position where I could buy the extra cold medicine to make myself feel better.
Yeah.
What are the things that you have at your disposal right now to be grateful for, to appreciate, to enjoy, to celebrate in this moment when it might feel like there's not a lot?
Yeah.
So Jeff, what can you celebrate right now?
Well, let me first respond to the first part, and then I'll tell you what. So what I really loved about the curiosity part is also it comes from a certain level of humility and recognizing that you don't know and it's okay to not know. And as part of that curiosity, then you're willing to look it up, especially if you're talking to kids and like, well, what should happen? You're like, I don't really know. But we can figure it out together. And like that, it comes from a more authentic place than let me buy so much more stuff. And then that is the only way in which I'm going to cope with this. Because the consumerism only is going to, please you for a certain period of time, right? And frankly, there's so many other ways to express and create, right? I think a key part of like what you said I need to do is that I interpret as like, I need to create. So if I'm thinking with my, the part that I would think of from a grateful standpoint, if I have kids and they're now staying at home, well, first off, I'm really then thankful that they're at home. So what can I create with them while we're here?
Yeah.
What is the opportunity I can make for them? What world can I make for them? Especially because it kind of feel like summer camp for them, because now they're at home and you get to spend time with them, right? You
And
also will
even
be
if
like,
they're doing distant learning, they're still going to be learning from home, which feels very different than a classroom.
right. And you might be like, I'm going to pull my hair out because I can't believe these kids are here and I have to deal with them. And at the same time, also being like, I'm really happy that they're here. For someone that is like either self-employed or someone that now is working from home, what are the question we're asking at our organization is like, what is the value that I can bring right now if I can't do the work that I usually do, right? Is there, like, we're doing it right now by being like, we feel as if there's a lot of important points that we can make from a psychological standpoint and from a play standpoint. Why don't we just create this video and put it out there? So it's like, what do you want to write? What is it you want to draw? What is it that you want to like film? But what is it that you want to do that creates some positivity that will help somebody else? I think that's a part that's really important. And then to answer your question about what I'm grateful for is, well, I'm grateful I'm not sick, you know? I'm grateful that my mom isn't sick. I mean, mom is in that realm, and I think that's another thing that's crucial to keep in mind, because, like, let's say you don't fit the demographic of the people that are dying, right? You are not above the age of 65. You do not have immuno disease or some other thing. To be just nonchalant and be like, whatever, well, it's not gonna affect me, really can be really hurtful for all the people that are fitting that demographic,
and who in your life fits that demographic.
And there is someone that connects with you directly. So just being like sensitive and aware, again, being in the playground and knowing that you're being inclusive to everybody else, and also knowing that at any time this can shift and it can affect more people. So putting yourself in the position of the most vulnerable and being like, what can I do? Oh, I can't go and connect with them right now because I'm in social distancing, but I can call them. I can write something to them and be like, I really appreciate you. Like, this is an opportunity where you can contact people that you've been meaning to reach out to for a very long period of time.
Yes.
And have that conversation that you've been wanting to have. You know, like this is the moment where you either can have fear make a majority of your decisions or love make a majority of decisions. And that's where we're
at. For love. Let's go for love. Let's go for love. And I feel like you and I will have many more conversations that we are going to put out there that will be recorded and some that won't be recorded. And perhaps we should wrap this up on the note of moving forward with love rather than fear, which is a practice. And that we'll come back and chat about how to play with your kids at home, how to create a playground in your house, perhaps conversations about how to balance work and parenting and homeschooling. So those are to come. But Jeff, any last final, outside of the fear over love, the love over fear, which is fantastic.
I'll expand on this later on, but can you play during a pandemic? The answer is yes. And what I mean by that is, like, you first have to create the psychological safety for yourself, that you feel grounded and that you remember what is important to you. Mm-hmm. And then after that, then start creating instead of just consuming. That's
I love that. I love that. I love that. And I think that I'm going to take that to heart and do a little more creating than consuming, because that, as I said, that's been one of my tactics for easing my fear. And I think that creation will feel better in a deeper way for me. I think my final piece for you is find those outlets, find those ways to do something as opposed to just consume to be a bystander. It's the way that we can shift our emotions. It's the way that we can shift ourselves. And if possible, find a way to lead those around you into that same place of a solid foundation to move forward with this. Thank you so much for listening to us. If you are looking for more information from Jeff, you can find it
at rediscoveryourplay.com. And
amazing. And if you're looking for more information from me, it's at drmarcie.com, drmarcie.com. And we look forward to chatting with you next time. Have a lovely, lovely day.
take care.